I thanked my grandfather for the $200 check. He stopped carving the turkey, looked me straight in the eyes and said, "The gift I transferred to you was $500,000. When my grandfather stopped carving the turkey, he set down the knife with surgical precision and said, "The gift I transferred to you was $500,000. I actually laughed because the envelope my mother had handed me an hour earlier contained a $200 check. My name is Jordan Graves. I'm 31 years old and I hunt digital thieves for a living. I'm a cybersecurity analyst for Sentinel Tech in Denver. I've tracked cryptocurrency fraud across 17 countries. I've helped the FBI recover $4.2 million in ransomware payments, and I've testified in federal court 4 times. I know how to follow money through the darkest corners of the internet. Turns out, the biggest theft of my career was happening at my own family's Thanksgiving table. 3 days before the holiday, my sister Olivia called. I was in my apartment, 3 monitors glowing with code, tracking a phishing operation coming out of Estonia. Her voice had that particular brightness that always made me suspicious, the tone she used when she wanted something but was pretending she didn't. "Hi Jordy," she said. "Nobody calls me Jordy except her. Listen, about Thanksgiving, maybe you should skip this year." I paused the trace I was running. "Why?" "Grandpa's really tired lately. The doctor said he shouldn't have too much excitement. You know how he gets when you visit? He wants to stay up talking, showing off the old maps, telling those stories about Korea." She laughed, but it sounded manufactured. "We're thinking quiet holiday. Just local family. I live in Denver. My family is in Bridgeport, Connecticut, about 2,000 miles away. Very convenient." "Since when does Grandpa want quiet?" I asked. "Since he turned 87 and the cardiologist told Mom he needs to reduce stress." That part could be true. Grandpa William Montgomery Graves, decorated veteran, retired civil engineer, the only person in my family who actually listened to me, was slowing down. But asking me to skip Thanksgiving? That didn't make sense either. Olivia continued. "You should probably save the airfare money anyway. I know consulting pays well, but those flights from Denver aren't cheap." There it was. Olivia had never, in her entire 33 years, worried about my finances. She'd borrowed $3,000 from me in 2019 for a business opportunity, which turned out to be a multi-level marketing scheme. Never paid me back. When I asked about it 6 months later, she said I was being petty about money between siblings. "I'll think about it," I said. "Great. Love you. Bye." She hung up before I could respond. I sat there for a long moment, staring at my screens. Something was wrong. That conversation had the same rhythm as the phishing emails I analyzed, all the right words, but the underlying code was malicious. I opened my banking app and checked the joint account Grandpa had set up for me when I turned 18. He'd seeded it with $5,000. Told me it was for emergencies. "You're smart with money, Jordan," he said. "This is just in case you need a cushion." I'd used it once during my junior year of college when my laptop died 2 days before finals. Paid it back in 6 months. Haven't touched it since. The balance showed $2,347. That seemed right. The original $5,000 minus the laptop loan, plus 13 years of minimal interest. But something made me click into the full transaction history. My stomach dropped. August 14, 2024. Wire transfer received, $500,000. Memo, for Jordan with love, Grandpa. August 15, 2024. Wire transfer sent, $499,800. Destination, external account ending in 7392. Memo, investment opportunity. I stared at the screen. $500,000, gone in 24 hours. The account currently showed $2,747 because someone had left just enough to avoid triggering a zero balance alert that might have sent me a notification. My hands were shaking. I set down my coffee mug carefully like it might shatter. I called the bank. Got transferred 3 times before I reached someone in fraud prevention. "Mr. Graves, I'm seeing that transfer was initiated with valid login credentials and 2-factor authentication," the representative said. Her name was Patricia. She sounded tired. "You don't recognize this transaction?" "I didn't make it. The IP address shows Bridgeport, Connecticut. Is that a location you regularly visit?" "My family lives there, but I wasn't there since July." "I understand. And you're certain you didn't authorize anyone to access this account on your behalf?" "Completely certain." She paused. I could hear typing. "Mr. Graves, we also have a document on file. Power of attorney signed by you on August 10th, granting authorization to..." More typing. "Rebecca Graves. Would that be your mother?" The room tilted. "I never signed a power of attorney." The signature matches our records. Then the signature is forged. More typing, longer this time. I'm flagging this account for investigation. You'll need to file a formal fraud report. I'm sending you the link now. I'll also need you to verify your identity with several security questions. The verification took 20 minutes. When I hung up, my coffee was cold and the Estonian phishing operation I'd been tracking had gone dark, probably relocated to a different server farm. I pulled up the power of attorney document the bank emailed me. It was a PDF, decent quality, all the right legal language. The signature at the bottom looked like mine, same looping G, same sharp vertical stroke on the J. But I knew I hadn't signed it. I have a very specific habit when I sign legal documents. I always add a tiny diagonal mark in the upper right corner of the signature block, invisible unless you're looking for it. A paranoid mannerism I developed after seeing too many contract disputes in the tech world. This signature had no mark. I zoomed in. The ink pressure was wrong, too uniform. This was a digital composite, probably created by scanning multiple signatures and stitching them together. Professional work. Not professional enough. I pulled the destination account number from the wire transfer external account ending in 7392. Most banks only show partial account numbers for security, but I had tools for that. 15 minutes of database queries and some creative use of financial APIs gave me the full account. Chase Rothwell account, opened at First National Bank, Bridgeport branch on August 2, 2024. I searched the name. LinkedIn profile. Investment consultant, 35 years old, MBA from Columbia, founder of Rothwell Capital Management. Professional photo showing a man with perfect teeth and a suit that cost more than most people's monthly rent. And there in his recent activity, excited to announce my engagement to the amazing Olivia Graves. To new beginnings. The post was dated August 20th, 6 days after my money disappeared. I clicked over to Olivia's Instagram. It was public, she never understood privacy settings. The feed was a timeline of destruction disguised as lifestyle content. August 16th. Photo of crystal clear water, white sand, palm trees. Much needed reset in the Maldives. Blessed beyond measure. August 18th. Sunset over an infinity pool. Grateful for this moment. August 20th. Close-up of her left hand. Massive diamond catching the light. He asked. I said yes. Happily ever after. I zoomed in on the ring. Emerald cut, had to be at least 3 carats. Platinum band. Conservative estimate, $30,000. My $30,000. I took screenshots of everything. Built a folder. Started mapping the money trail with the same methodical precision I use for corporate investigations. August 14th. Grandpa transfers $500,000 to joint account. August 15th. Money transferred to Chase Rothwell's account. August 16th. Olivia posts from the Maldives. Flight records. I have access to certain databases through work, strictly for legitimate security purposes. Showed 2 first-class tickets from JFK to the Maldives, purchased August 14th. Travelers, Olivia Graves and Chase Rothwell. Cost, $18,400. August 20th. Engagement announcement. Ring purchased from Cartier Manhattan. Credit card records are surprisingly easy to find if you know where to look and have the right credentials. This was arguably a gray area of legality. I didn't care. The pattern was clear. Olivia had somehow convinced Grandpa to transfer money to me. Probably told him I needed it for something, knowing he'd never refuse. Then immediately diverted it to her fiancé's account and spent it on a luxury trip and an engagement ring. But the forged power of attorney signature bothered me. That wasn't Olivia's style. She was impulsive, reckless with money, but she wasn't sophisticated enough to forge legal documents. I pulled up the document again. Studied the signature more carefully. The digital composite was good, but there was something else. Tiny inconsistencies in pen pressure, microscopic variations in ink density that suggested this had been practiced. Someone had traced my signature multiple times before creating the final version. I compared it to my mother's handwriting. She'd sent me a birthday card last year. I'd kept it because she actually remembered, which was rare enough to be notable. The capital letters matched. The way the descending stroke on the G curved slightly inward. The specific angle of the cross on the T. My mother had forged my signature. I sat back in my chair. Outside the window, Denver sprawled in the November afternoon light. Traffic moving on I-25. People going about their lives, no idea that mine had just imploded. My phone buzzed. Text from Olivia. So you're definitely not coming Thursday, right? Just want to make sure so Mom doesn't buy too much food. I stared at the message for a full minute, then typed, "Actually, I changed my mind. I'll be there." Her response came fast. "Seriously? Are you sure? I thought you said work was crazy right now." "I never said that. Work can wait," I typed. "Family is important." Three dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. "Okay. Great. See you Thursday." I booked the flight. Packed my laptop, the portable projector I used for work presentations, and printed every piece of evidence I'd gathered. Bank statements, wire transfer records, the forged power of attorney, screenshots of Olivia's Instagram, credit card receipts, flight records. 47 pages total. I put it all in a leather portfolio Grandpa gave me when I graduated college. The irony wasn't lost on me. Wednesday I landed at JFK and rented a car. Drove to Bridgeport. November in Connecticut makes the world look like it's ending. I checked into a Hampton in 15 minutes from my parents' house and spent the night building a presentation. Title slide, Family Investment Opportunity, a Case Study in Banking Fraud. Subtitle, How $500,000 Became $200. I practiced the timing. 12 minutes for the full reveal with strategic pauses for maximum impact. I'd given presentations to boardrooms, testified in court, explained complex cybercrimes to juries. This should have been easier. It wasn't. These were people I grew up with. My sister who taught me to ride a bike. My mother who drove me to robotics club every Saturday for 3 years. My father who was never particularly involved but was still family. But they'd stolen from me. Not just the money, they'd stolen my grandfather's gift, his trust, his desire to help me. And they'd done it so casually, so easily. Thursday morning, I drove to my parents' house at 2 p.m. Dinner was at 4. Mom had texted the schedule. Appetizers at 4, turkey at 5, dessert at 6:30. Very organized. Very controlled. I sat in the street, loaded my laptop bag, walked up the front path. The house looked exactly like it always had. Cream-colored colonial, black shutters, the maple tree in the front yard that I climbed as a kid. Normal. Innocent. Mom opened the door before I could knock. "Jordan. You made it." She pulled me into a hug that felt practiced. "I'm so glad you decided to come after all." "Wouldn't miss it," I said. She was wearing the nice sweater, the cashmere one with pearl buttons. Her hair was professionally done. There was something brittle about her smile. "Olivia's in the kitchen. Chase is here too. I know you haven't met him yet. He's wonderful. You'll love him." I followed her inside. The house smelled like turkey and stuffing and pie. Grandpa was in his usual chair by the fireplace, reading the paper with reading glasses perched on his nose. He looked up when I entered. "Jordan." His whole face lit up. "There's my boy." I crossed the room. Hugged him carefully. He felt more fragile than last time, the bones more prominent under the cardigan, but the grip was still strong. "How's Denver treating you?" he asked. "Good. Really good. Working on some interesting cases." "Still catching the bad guys?" "Always." He smiled. "That's my grandson. Justice above all." The words hit harder than they should have. Olivia appeared from the kitchen, Chase following behind like an expensive accessory. She'd lost weight since I'd seen her, the kind of weight loss that comes from stress and green juices and not eating. The engagement ring caught the light, throwing tiny rainbows across the wall. "Jordy?" She hugged me too. I felt her stiffen slightly when I didn't pull away quickly. "This is Chase. Chase, my little brother Jordan." Chase extended his hand. "Great to finally meet you. Olivia talks about you all the time." His handshake was firm, practiced. Investment consultant handshake. Everything about him was practiced, the smile, the eye contact, the way he stood with shoulders back and chest open. Alpha posture. Confidence that came from never being told no. "Congratulations on the engagement," I said. "Thanks, man. She's 1 in a million." He pulled Olivia close, kissed the top of her head. She beamed, actually beamed. Either she was a better actress than I gave her credit for, or she'd compartmentalized the theft so completely that she'd convinced herself it hadn't happened. Dad was in the living room watching football with the volume on mute. He looked up when I entered. Nodded. "Jordan. Good to see you." "You too, Dad." We didn't have much more to say to each other. We never had. Mom announced appetizers. We gathered in the dining room. The table was set with the good china, candles lit, everything picture perfect. Grandpa sat at the head of the table. Mom and Dad on either side. Olivia and Chase across from me. The conversation was aggressively normal. Chase talked about a recent golf trip to Scotland. Olivia described her new position at a marketing firm. Mom discussed the book club's current selection. Dad stayed quiet, drinking wine faster than seemed advisable. I waited. Finally, Mom stood up. I almost forgot. Jordan, Grandpa wanted me to give you something. She disappeared into the kitchen. Came back with a white envelope. Business size. My name written on the front in Grandpa's handwriting. He said quietly, she said, pressing it into my hand. Don't mention the amount. He's a little embarrassed that things are tight this year. I opened the envelope. Inside was a check. Pay to the order of Jordan Graves. $200. Written in my mother's handwriting. Signed with Grandpa's shaky signature. The room waited for my reaction. I looked at Grandpa. He was watching me with that warm, proud expression I'd known my whole life. Thank you, I said. This is really generous. Mom's shoulders relaxed. Olivia took a sip of wine. Chase checked his phone. We moved to the dining room for dinner. Turkey on a platter. Sides and serving dishes. Everything orchestrated like a Norman Rockwell painting. Grandpa carved while Mom directed traffic, making sure everyone had the right portions. Olivia launched into a story about a wellness retreat she went to last month. The sunrise meditation sessions were absolutely transformative. I feel like I'm finally learning to be present, you know? To really appreciate the moment. Chase nodded. She came back a completely different person. More centered. More herself. I wondered if he knew the retreat cost $14,000 of my money. He probably did. He seemed like the kind of guy who checked receipts. Mom caught my eye. Jordan, you should try something like that. All that computer work, you need to learn to enjoy life. Disconnect sometimes. I enjoy life just fine, I said. You do. You're always working, always so serious. Life isn't just about chasing criminals in cyberspace. The irony was extraordinary. Dad poured more wine. Fourth glass. Grandpa stood up, tapped his water glass with a fork. The table went quiet. I'd like to make a toast, he began. I'm an old man. I've lived 87 years. Fought in a war. Built bridges that are still standing. Raised a family. But one of my greatest joys has been watching my grandchildren grow into the people they're meant to be. He looked at Olivia, then at me. Olivia, you've always known what you wanted and gone after it. That determination will serve you well in marriage and in life. She smiled, tears forming. And Jordan? His voice grew thicker with emotion. You've always been kind of quiet. Thoughtful. Principled. You don't take shortcuts. You do the right thing even when it's hard. That's rare these days. My throat was tight. That's why, he continued, I wanted to help you take the next step. Buy a house. Start your own firm if that's what you want. You've earned it. And I hope the gift I gave will make that dream a little easier to reach. He raised his glass. To Jordan. May you build something lasting. Everyone raised their glasses. I raised mine. Thank you, Grandpa, I said clearly. Thank you very much for the $200. His smile faltered. The table went still. What $200? He asked. I pulled the check from my pocket. Held it up. This check. The one Mom gave me before dinner. From you. $200. Grandpa's face changed. Confusion shifted to something darker. Rebecca, what is he talking about? Mom's fork clattered against her plate. Dad, you're confused. You said things were tight. The gift I transferred to Jordan was $500,000. Silence. Absolute crushing silence. Chase's wine glass stopped halfway to his mouth. Olivia had gone completely white. Dad was staring at his plate like it might contain answers. Mom's face had crumbled into something desperate. Dad, you're not remembering correctly, Mom tried again, her voice rising. Your medication? The doctor said it can cause confusion. I'm not confused. Grandpa's voice cut through the room like a blade. I transferred $500,000 to Jordan's account on August 14th. I got the confirmation email. I saved it. He pulled out his phone with trembling hands. Started scrolling. Mom stood up. Dad, please. Let's talk about this privately. You're getting upset. Show me the account, Jordan, Grandpa said, ignoring her. Pull it up right now. I already had my laptop out of my bag. Opened it. The screen glowed blue in the candlelit room. I pulled up the bank statement. Turned the laptop so Grandpa could see. August 14th. Wire transfer received $500,000. August 15th. Wire transfer sent $499,800. Current balance $2,747. Grandpa stared. His hand went to his chest. For one horrible moment I thought he was having a heart attack. Where did it go? He whispered. I looked at Olivia. She was crying now, silent tears running down her face. mascara starting to smudge. Chase had his hand on her shoulder but looked ready to bolt. "That's what I'd like to know too, Grandpa," I said quietly. Mom was still standing, hands clenched at her sides. "This is a family matter. We can discuss it later. Privately." "No." I opened the folder on my desktop. "We're going to discuss it right now." I pulled out the portable projector, set it on the table, pushed the mashed potatoes and stuffing aside to make room, plugged it into my laptop. The white wall behind Grandpa lit up with my first slide. Family investment opportunity, a case study in banking fraud. Dad's wine glass slipped from his hand. Red wine spread across the white tablecloth like blood. People started standing up. Uncle Mark and Jennifer, who'd been quiet in the corner. Cousin Stephanie and her husband. Mom's sister Patricia. They backed away slowly, then faster. "We should go," Aunt Jennifer murmured. "This is between immediate family." They left, just walked out. The front door opened and closed 3 times. Car engine started. When the commotion settled, only 6 of us remained. Grandpa, Mom, Dad, Olivia, Chase, and me. I advanced to the next slide. The wire transfer records blown up large enough to read from across the room. August 14th. Grandpa initiates wire transfer of $500,000 as a gift to me. August 15th. Someone with access to the joint account transfers $499,800 to an external account belonging to Chase Rothwell. Chase went rigid. Next slide. Olivia's Instagram posts, dated and time-stamped. August 16th. My sister posts from the Maldives. 2 first-class tickets from JFK to the Maldives purchased August 14th. Cost $18,400. Olivia made a sound like a wounded animal. Next slide. The engagement ring zoomed in. August 20th. Engagement announcement. Ring purchased from Cartier Manhattan, August 19th. Cost $32,750. Chase stood up. "I don't have to sit here and listen to this." "Sit down." Grandpa's voice was quiet but carried weight. Chase sat. I advanced to the next slide. The forged power of attorney with the signature highlighted. This document was filed with the bank on August 10th, granting Rebecca Graves power of attorney over the joint account. The signature is forged. Note the pen pressure inconsistencies here, here, and here. I used a laser pointer. The letter forms match my mother's handwriting. Not mine. Mom was crying now too, but these were angry tears. "You don't understand what we've been through. The medical bills from your father's surgery. Dad's surgery was covered by insurance," I said. I checked. "The mortgage is current." I pulled the records. "You had no right." "I had every right." "I had every right," I interrupted. "You stole from me." Next slide. Audio file. This is a voicemail left by Rebecca Graves on August 28th to Arthur Patton, attorney. I obtained it through legal discovery after filing a fraud report. I clicked play. Mom's voice filled the room. "Arthur, we've already spent the first installment. If Jordan finds out, he's going to go crazy. We need to cover this up. Can you help us create some kind of, I don't know, legitimate explanation? Maybe a loan agreement or something?" Arthur Patton's response: "Rebecca, this is fraud. I won't be part of this. You need to tell Jordan the truth before this gets worse." Mom's voice again: "You don't understand." Olivia needed. The file ended. Mom's face was pure devastation. "You were trying to help my sister with my money," I said. The words came out harsher than I intended. "You have a good job. You didn't need." "That's not the point," Mom cut in. "The point is that Grandpa gave me a gift. A life-changing gift. And you stole it before I even knew it existed. You forged legal documents. You lied to him. You lied to me. And you gave me a $200 check like it was some generous gesture when you'd already taken everything." Olivia was sobbing openly now. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I just needed, the wedding is in 6 months and Chase said we needed to make the right impression and I panicked." "So you stole from me?" "It wasn't like that." "How was it then, Olivia? Explain it to me." She couldn't. Chase stood up again, this time with purpose. "Lose my number," he said to Olivia. "All of this family, this drama, whatever this is, I don't do this." He left. The front door slammed. Olivia screamed after him, actually screamed, then turned on me, mascara smeared, face blotchy. "You just destroyed my entire life. You destroyed it yourself when you chose to steal. I hate you." She grabbed her coat, her purse. "I hate you so much." She left too. Her car roared to life in the driveway, tires squealing as she peeled out. Dad sat motionless through all of it, staring at the wine stain spreading across the tablecloth. Finally he stood up. "I'm going to bed," he said to no one in particular. He went upstairs. We heard the bedroom door close. 3 of us left now. Me, Mom, and Grandpa. Mom was shaking. She sank into a chair, hands covering her face. "I thought it would be okay. I thought you'd never find out. I thought. You thought wrong." Grandpa stood up. His hands were steady now, his face set in an expression I'd never seen before. Grief. Betrayal. Anger. He pulled out his phone. Mom grabbed his arm. "Dad, please. Please don't do this. Think about the family. Think about Olivia's future." "I'm thinking," he said quietly. "I'm thinking about how I trusted you. How I called you before making the transfer. Told you I wanted to help Jordan. Asked you to make sure he knew it was from me, that it came with love. And you took that trust and turned it into theft." "Dad," she backed away from him. He dialed 911. Mom collapsed to her knees, actually collapsed, hands clasped like prayer. "Please, please don't do this. I'm your daughter. I made a mistake. Please." "This is William Graves at 847 Maple Drive in Bridgeport," Grandpa said into the phone. "I need to report a theft." Mom started sobbing, the kind of crying that sounds like breaking. The police arrived 18 minutes later. 2 officers, one older, one younger. Officer Martin Chin, 23 years on the force, and Officer Rachel King, 5 years. I'd already prepared a folder for them, all the evidence organized chronologically. They sat at the dining room table, the turkey cold now, candles burned down to stubs, and went through everything methodically. "Mr. Graves," Officer Chin said to Grandpa, "do you want to press charges?" "Yes." "You're certain? This is your daughter." "I'm certain." He looked at me. "And you, Mr. Graves, Jordan, do you want to proceed with this?" I thought about Olivia's scream. Mom sobbing. The way Dad just walked away. I thought about Chase's disdainful exit. About ruined holidays and fractured family and all the years of Thanksgiving dinners that would never happen again. Then I thought about Grandpa's face when he made that toast, the pride, the love, the way he'd saved for years so he could give his grandchildren something meaningful. "Yes," I said. "I want to proceed with this." Officer King took notes. "We're going to need both of you to come to the station tomorrow to file formal reports. We'll also need to coordinate with the bank and possibly the FBI, since this involved wire fraud across state lines." Mom looked up, face blotchy and swollen. "FBI. Wire fraud is a federal crime, ma'am." She seemed to fold into herself. The officers left around 11 p.m. Mom had moved to the couch, curled up like a child. I packed my projector, my laptop, my folders of evidence. Grandpa walked me to the door. "Are you okay?" I asked. He smiled sadly. "Last night, before you arrived, your mother told me she'd given you my check. Said you thanked her. Said you were grateful, that things weren't as tight as you'd feared. Said the $200 would really help with your rent." The manipulation was breathtaking. "And I believed her," he continued. "Because why wouldn't I? She's my daughter. I raised her. I thought I knew her. I'm sorry, Grandpa." "Don't be sorry. You did the right thing. It's her choice to live with it." He put his hand on my shoulder, the same hand that taught me to tie my shoes, to cast a fishing line, to shake hands firmly and look people in the eye. "When you thanked me for the $200 at dinner," he said quietly, "I almost let it go. Almost convinced myself I was confused. That my memory was faulty. Maybe I hadn't actually sent the full amount. Because that was easier than believing my own daughter would do this." He paused. "But then I looked at your face and I knew you were giving me the chance to see, to really see what they'd done. You were protecting me from living the rest of my life as their fool." My throat was tight. "Last night you thanked me for $200, he said. "Tonight you proved your worth more than any amount I could ever transfer." I hugged him carefully because he was fragile and 87 and the strongest person I'd ever known. "I love you, Grandpa." "I love you too, Jordan. Now go home. Get some sleep." I drove back to my hotel in the November rain. Checked my phone at a red light. 17 missed calls from Olivia. 6 from Mom. 4 voicemails I didn't listen to. I blocked the numbers. The next morning, Grandpa and I went to the Bridgeport Police Department. We filed formal reports, signed statements. Detective Marcus Rivera, 11 years in financial crimes, told us the case would take months to build. "But it's solid," he said. "Power of attorney fraud, wire fraud, possibly conspiracy. The evidence you compiled is better than most of what we see from professional investigators." "I am a professional investigator," I said. "Just usually for corporations, not family." How does it feel? He asked. Going after your own family? I thought about it. Like justice. The ripple effect was immediate and comprehensive. By Monday, the story had leaked to local media. Probably through the police report, maybe through one of the relatives who witnessed the Thanksgiving confrontation. Family Thanksgiving ends in theft charges, ran in the Bridgeport Courier. Olivia's employer, a boutique marketing agency that prided itself on ethical brand building, fired her on Tuesday. I know because she left me a voicemail screaming about it. I didn't listen to the whole thing. My parents' church community, St. Matthew's Episcopal, where they'd been members for 32 years, asked them to step back from volunteer positions on the fundraising committee. Too much negative attention was the official reason. Chase Rothwell changed his LinkedIn status to single and deleted all photos of Olivia. His company website removed his bio for a week, then put it back up with no mention of personal life. The bank investigation revealed that Dr. Arthur Patton, the lawyer Mom had called, had actually reported the conversation to the Bar Association Ethics Hotline. There was a paper trail showing he tried to warn her. That testimony helped establish intent. In January, federal charges were filed. Rebecca Graves, wire fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, forgery. Olivia Graves, accessory after the fact, conspiracy. The FBI got involved because the wire transfer crossed state lines and involved digital banking systems that fell under federal jurisdiction. I gave a 4-hour deposition in a federal building in Hartford, going through every piece of evidence, every database query, every screenshot. The assistant United States attorney prosecuting the case, Sarah Mendez, 14 years in white-collar crime, told me it was one of the cleanest fraud cases she'd seen. Most families who steal from each other hide it better, she said, or the victim doesn't have the skills to document so thoroughly. You basically built our entire case for us. I do this for a living, I said. Just usually not against my own family. She smiled sadly. How does it feel? Same question as the detective. Same answer. Like justice. The trial was scheduled for August. Mom's lawyer tried to negotiate a plea deal. I refused to participate in any agreement that didn't include prison time. Grandpa backed me up. In the end, Mom pleaded guilty to reduced charges. 1 count of wire fraud, 1 count of forgery. Sentence, 18 months in federal prison. 3 years supervised release. Full restitution of $499,800 plus interest and penalties. Olivia pleaded guilty to conspiracy and received 12 months, 2 years supervised release, and was ordered to return the engagement ring. It had been sold by Chase the week after Thanksgiving. She had to buy it back at auction for $28,000 she didn't have. She borrowed the money from an aunt. The ring was then sold under court direction with the proceeds going toward restitution. Chase Rothwell was never charged. Prosecutors couldn't prove he knew the money was stolen, though everyone involved assumed he did. He moved to Boston 6 months later. Dad filed for divorce in February. Cited irreconcilable differences in my spouse's criminal actions. The proceedings were quick and ugly. He got the house. Mom got nothing. I haven't spoken to any of them since that Thanksgiving. Blocked their numbers. Blocked their emails. Blocked them on every platform. Dad tried to reach out twice through intermediaries, once through Grandpa, once through cousin Stephanie. Both times I declined. I didn't want reconciliation. I didn't want apologies. I wanted them to understand that actions have consequences, that betrayal destroys trust, and that trust, once destroyed, can never be rebuilt. Grandpa and I have dinner once a month now, usually over video call since Denver to Connecticut is a long trip. Sometimes I fly out to visit. We don't talk about Mom or Olivia. We talk about his maps, his career stories, my work, my life. In March he set up a new account. Transferred another $500,000. This time it came with a letter. Jordan, this is the gift I always intended to give you. Use it to buy a house, start a company, build something that matters. I know you'll do it right. Your mother asked me to do something wrong and I was fool enough to trust her. You showed me the truth even when it hurt. That's the mark of real integrity. With love, Grandpa. I bought a 3-bedroom craftsman house in a nice Denver neighborhood. Walking distance to a park. I have a home office now, proper workspace for my investigations. Sometimes I think about starting my own firm, but Sentinel Tech treats me well and I like the work. The 2nd bedroom is for Grandpa when he visits. The 3rd is empty. Maybe someday it won't be. Last week I received a letter from Olivia, handwritten, 8 pages. It arrived in a plain envelope with no return address. It began, Jordan, I know you'll probably throw this away without reading it, but I have to try. What I did was unforgivable. I was selfish and desperate, and I didn't think about what I was stealing from you besides just money. I read the whole thing, then put it through the shredder, watching her words turn to confetti. Some people think forgiveness is noble. Maybe it is. But I'm not interested in being noble. I'm interested in being whole. And wholeness for me meant cutting out the people who tried to carve me up and sell the pieces. They stole my money. They tried to steal Grandpa's gift. They almost succeeded. But I walked away with something they could never take.